Hey guys, it's Joe, and in this video I'm going to teach you or go through the steps of how I backtest days rest for baseball stats. So I've got 2 years of game log data here. It's 2018 and 2017. It's about 100,000 records, so it's got a lot of data on here. And we're going to test how players do on when they play when they played yesterday, so that's no rest, or when they have 1 day rest, 2 days rest, and we kind of just want to see if there's any effect on players if the stats are pretty similar. So we've got the data here, we got the players, but we need to make a column called days rest. So to do that, we're going to do an if function. We can put it right up here, if. And I'm going to do an and, because we want 2 criteria to happen in order for us to want to calculate the day's rest. So we're on row 2, so we want to make sure we're always checking in with row 3. Actually, before we get to this, we want to sort this. So we want to make sure this is sorted right. So we're going to data sort, and we're going to player, and we want to sort by player, and then we're going to add a level, and then we want to sort by the date. And we want from the newest to oldest, because we want the most recent one to come up there. So we're going to press OK, and it's going to sort this, and there we go. So now we've got this all sorted. Now we're ready to test this. So now we can do our function in days rest. So it's if, and we do an and function, and we want both these criteria to happen. So we're in row 2, and we're testing it against row 3 to see, like here. This guy played on 9:30. This is what we're testing, and he also played yesterday, 9:29. So we want this to come up with a 0 because he had no rest. So we want this to equal here because it has to be the same player, and we also want the year to equal because obviously from year to year there's a 6-month rest in between, so we don't really care about that. So I put the end parentheses. So now if these both equal, AJ Ellis does equal and the year equals, so we want to test this. Then we're going to do today's date minus last game's date. And we want to do -1, because always it would come out with this day minus this would equal 1. But since we want it to equal 0 to show how much days rest, we always have to do a -1. And then comma, and then if it doesn't, neither of these do equal, we just put double quote. So we put the end parentheses. Double quote is just because I don't want to test it. So we press enter. So there. So we see he's got 0 days rest, which is what we want. And if we go down to the next one, 0 days rest. If we go down here, 1 day rest. Let's see, he played on the 28th to the 26th. So what I'm going to do now is copy this all the way down. I can copy it down just by Control C and Control V or whatever. Or I double click on here and it'll copy it down. So we copied it on. It went pretty quick, actually. Sometimes it goes slow. It depends how bad the formulas are. So now we're going to do some testing on this. So to do that, I'm going to put the filter on here. And let's just create another formula, or another tab here. And let's test on, here's the day's rest. So we got 0 days rest, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and 4 days. Let's go with that. So we've got all the players here. We got 100,000 records, and let's just do it on FanDuel points. So in total, if you highlight the whole thing, you can kind of see the average player, which is 8.24 or 8.25 points per game. 8.25 points per game. This is the average for everyone. Let's see how players do when their day's rest is 0. When there's no rest, that's 77,000 times it occurs. We're looking at FanDuel points, and it's 8.57. So actually on no days rest, they score a little bit more when they play back-to-back days. I mean, obviously it's not a lot. What about when they have 1 day rest? $18,000 times, it comes up quite a bit, and it's 7.98. So that looks like a pretty decent decrease there. And I'm just going to keep going. This is kind of the long way to do it. I'll show you in future videos a quicker way to do it. But on 2 days rest, they score this 6.666 FanDuel points per game. So on 2 days rest, it's 6.67. On 3 days rest, it's only 1,500 times. It's still a good amount. It's 5.62. So it's really and on 4 days rest, it's 6.96. So it goes up a bit. So let's kind of do a little calculations here. So I'm going to copy this over, and we'll do a formula here, which will be 0 days divided by the total average, in parentheses, minus 1. So we get the actual percentage. I'm going to format this as a percentage. So it's 4%. So they score 4% higher, all players as a whole. Actually, we got to anchor this cell, so it's always looking at the 8.25. We copy this over, and look at this. This is pretty interesting. Players with no days rest, they score 4% more. When you have a day rest, they score 3% less. I mean, both of those aren't really that earth-shattering, but look at that. When you get a player who has 2 days rest, either he's sitting for a couple days, or maybe they just have some days off, or maybe he's coming back from an injury. When you have 2 days rest, 3 days rest, 4 days rest, that is huge. That's a good 20 to 30% decrease. It just kind of triggers you to kind of look and just think if you want to play these players, if you know that you've had a couple days of rest. So that's really it for the video. I mean, there's plenty of other ways you can come out with these stats, and we can even look at the good players, the bad players, and so on. But I'm just going to wrap up the video here just to kind of give an overview of how we can backtest days rest, and it kind of came up with pretty interesting results. So if you got any questions, let me know, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.